Hey boys, welcome back to some more Nrl Supercoach. It's going to be the round 9 preview, and it is it's quite the week. There's a fair few players out. The Storm have a bye, which is a pretty notable team. For ourselves, we have Harry Grant and Christian Welsh, so we're not too far off or too badly off. But for a lot of people, I mean, Nick Meaney's popular, Cameron Munster, obviously, Jerome Hughes, maybe, to an extent, maybe, Ali Katoa, Trent Liero. So, yeah, the Storm are quite the notable team to have a bye. There's some other big news. So, what else was there? Well, I mean, the random one, Kyle Flanagan dropped. So, we thought, the young kid would come in, but what's his name again? Olawapau? I can't remember, dude. I know he's a former Bronco. They're talking him up a lot, but we thought we might get a cheapie there in 5'8". Not to be. They've given Josh Reynolds a starting spot at the Dogs. I wouldn't be shocked if Carl comes onto the bench. Because Reynolds, I mean, he is not fit for 80 minutes at 5'8". I mean, come on, that's a joke, isn't it? That's a real joke. I can't understand it. But there's one, Penrith. So Isaac Tungo is gone. Team list had, what's his face? Tyrone Peachy playing in centre. So I'm actually curious to see what his price is on Supercoach, because honestly, like, Tungo is out. I mean, it's a pec injury that could be, I think they're saying 4 to 6, but I mean, saying like that could definitely be longer. So yeah, Peachy, you might get to wait on, but honestly, depending his price, he could be a pretty sneaky pickup. Taruva is apparently in doubt. Nathan Cleary apparently in doubt. So keep them on the watchful eye. Tom Trbojevic did get named, so I guess keep an eye on that as well. But, I mean, the fact that, I mean, honestly, I don't really know what the deal is, right? Because he went, like, he literally, I was watching the game, obviously, and he, like, limped into the tackle. You could tell straight away that he'd done something. Thankfully not a hammy, but he'd done something, and then when he got up to play the ball, he played the ball, and he was holding his groin, so he clearly did something, and he went off, but they've named him, so I don't know what to make of it. I mean, if they weren't... The annoying thing is that, one, he's only 600k, so to get to a lot of the other decent fullbacks, they're quite a bit more expensive. They're playing the Titans this week at Brookvale, 4 Pines Park. So, like, I can't trade him. I mean, at the end of the, like, I don't know. We'll talk about options there potentially, but I think I'm just gonna hold him. The fact he's named, if he gets late scratched out, then I'll probably try to trade him to someone, but the fact he's named and they're playing the Titans, I think I've got to hold him. Ruben Garrick has shifted into the centers, which a lot of people are not thrilled about. And I mean, I guess typically wingers do generally score better than centers. Obviously there's the outliers. I mean, you look at Holmes, maybe Garrick will be more like a Holmes now, a bit more base with tackles and stuff, but he's still got the goal kicking, still got the attacking upside. So honestly, I'm not too disappointed that he's playing in center. I don't think it's going to affect his score that much. Maybe he'll score a few less tries, but, you know, a few more tackles, maybe a couple more try assists. So, I think it'll even out. I'm not too disappointed with that. Also, Josh Schuster is out again. Oh, man. He actually went up in price. I thought he might not, but he actually did, surprisingly. I guess he got that, what did he get, like 50? He got like 59 in the first game, and then a couple of 20s. So, he'll probably start losing cash again soon, but he's not playing, so I don't know. Schuster is... I mean, at the end of the day, I'm not too worried by. I mean, it would have been nice for him to play against the Titans for sure, but if he's just in, out, you're probably not going to play him in your 17 anyway unless you have to. So, yeah, whatever. I mean, there's nothing really to do with Schuster at this point. And the other one, so fucking Bryce Cartwright has now been relegated to the bench again. I think it's big. I don't know. I mean, Paulo is obviously out, so I think it was not Paulo. Regan Campbell-Gillard is out with that bad injury suffered, but he's out. So I think Greg is the other starting prop, and then Madison's gone to the back row. Hopgood is starting, and Cartwright's back to the bench. And I'm assuming they're going to do the same thing they did a couple of weeks ago, where Greg, only a 20-minute player, he'll go off after a brief little burst, and Madison will go through the middle, and then Cartwright will probably play like the rest of the 55 to 60 minutes on the edge, which isn't terrible. But I do think I do have to get rid of him. Unfortunately, I actually was going to just trade him to Hopgood this week. Unfortunately, I don't quite have the cash. Cartwright surprisingly went up in cash with 35. He went up like, what are you going up? 2K? So, which is nice. But I looked at his break even and it's 63, which again, it's doable. But the fact he's only going to play probably like 55 minutes at best, he's not likely to hit that potential. But the fact that Hopgood's break even is about 50 odd. So again, he's probably not going to go up that much cash either. So I'm sort of, I'm a little torn on what to do this week with trades. I've looked at potentially trading twice or trading none, because so a couple of things, right? Who is on the chopping block, I guess. So fullbacks, Walsh, and I said Walsh, he was probably a trade out. My original plan was to trade Walsh out last week, but the fact that he scored the 100 the week before, I thought you can't trade him out scoring that well. Now, they have a tough run. Obviously, it is tough. Like, they got Rabbits this week without Payne Haas, which is very detrimental for, all the attacking players involved, really. Then they got Manly, which isn't necessarily that bad. Melbourne, also not that bad. They've been leaking a lot of points. And then Penrith in round 12. And then he covers round 13, which I actually think I'm going to... I'm torn. I don't know. Because Walsh, if he really stinks it up again this week, then maybe I do just trade him off. I'm probably more leaning toward... I don't know. There's options. Obviously, we could just put Miller, Garrick, or even Taruva, I guess. But any of these guys into fullback and then trade Walsh for a centre wing. That could be an option. Or we trade Walsh to... probably Clint Gutherson is the guy I'm most keen on. Obviously, Mitchell is killing it. But if you... Honestly, if you didn't get Mitchell like last week or the week before, or if maybe this week I feel like is the latest, he's going to be out with Origin coming up. He's going to miss a lot of footy. So I think the boat sailed on Mitchell unless I think this week is probably the week to get Mitchell if you're going to. If not, I think you do have to wait until after Origin. So that pretty much, Clint Gutherson's actually been going pretty well. So I think that might be the option. And then Tom Trbojevic, I guess, like I said, he's only 600k, so it's going to be tough to actually get him up to someone worth holding. And obviously the cheapy potential of Buller for the Tigers, but yeah, they're taking on Penrith this week, so you definitely don't need to go early on that one. That is for sure. So both fullbacks, I guess, on the chopping block, but I'm leaning towards Walsh, holding him for round 13 now. Like, it saves me a trade. He potentially... I still think, Walsh still scored 38. I actually thought he would have scored a few more because he still looked pretty good. But the game was was bad weather. Like, I mean, that affects like all Supercoach scoring to an extent, even the forwards, because there's more errors, there's less ball in play, more stoppages, this and that. Players are fresher. So, and then it affects attacking players like Walsh. I mean, he was slipping over half the time. So I still think Walsh can score well against better teams. It was just, you know, if it's terrible wet weather, then yeah, I don't expect Walsh or, I mean, Trbojevic the same. It was terrible weather. He was obviously carrying a little niggle. But yeah, it's obviously just harder to score in that type of conditions. Nico Hines, the only fucking guy that can that can actually do better in wet weather. Pretty much you look at every game that was like bad weather, and every player just scores lower. So, you know, I'm not. I think a lot of people are going to get rid of Walsh, but I think hopefully they do, because then he could become a bit of a pod for round 13. Because again, I mean, that was the other main point, was that Kalen Ponga was back, and Kalen Ponga is definitely going to be the number one for Queensland. I mean, Walsh is incredible, but Ponga, he's done it before, and I think overall he is a better player at the moment than Walsh anyway. So, yeah, I mean, if Ponga's fit, there's no way Walsh makes it. I mean, maybe it would screw us if he, like, made 18th man or something. Or if Ponga got injured or concussed again, then Walsh probably second off the chopping block. But, you know, there's time to go before we make that decision anyway. The centre wing, I mean, the centre wing is killing it. I mean, Warbrick, he has a bye this week, so... you know, we could trade him to a cheapie. There's not a lot, but there's probably... I mean, Hayes Dunster has now... he's back in the team because Simonson's out, but I wouldn't be going Dunster. I mean, Robert Jennings, he had his second game and he scored well. He bombed a fucking try, but I'm still... I'm nervous about going Robert Jennings just because Edric Lee is back in the extended squad, but hey, I don't know. I mean, Robert Jennings is looking okay, so I might make some money there and go Jennings. And I guess if I went there, I could upgrade Cartwright to get Hopgood, which I do want to do. But yeah, I think Warbrick's got to go. Taruva, he's in doubt, but without Tungo in the side, I'm sort of leaning towards holding Taruva, and I still like, he's 400k. I think he's got more to give. Like, I feel like he's got so much more to give in point scoring. So I'm not rushing to trade out Taruva, and then the rest of the centre wing, it's looking pretty damn good. The 5'8s, they're fine. I mean, Isaiah Katoa, at some point we're gonna want to trade him to someone, but I don't know who. But yeah, it's fine for now. Halfback's obviously fine. If Cleary's out, honestly, I welcome it. I honestly I'm fucking loving the Carnage, because my team is not that affected. And honestly, like, I've built my team very heavily, like, with great depth. So I'm like, yes, Cleary be ruled out, so it screws people over even more, and I'll be fine. I'll be fine with Cleary being out. So honestly, give Cleary a rest. That would work well for me, if I'm being honest. The back row for Fafita, Hosking, Preston. I mean, Preston, he's still scoring well in a bad Bulldogs team. I'm still happy. Hosking, I think, is definitely a trade out. And there's definitely a couple of options, but he's a guy that I think potentially is on the outer. Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I mean, he didn't play the full 80 last week, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, Garner's back. I think he's in the extended squad. I don't know. I actually don't know what's going on there, but yeah, I think Hosking, I mean, give it, obviously I'm not training out this week. Give another week for sure, but if he doesn't maintain the 80 minutes, I think he is a sell to someone else. Jackson Ford, I mean, we're holding to around 13. He's going to make more money. Cartwright, unfortunately, I've been flipping and flopping on Cartwright. I thought last week we were going to hold him. I think now it's time to bite the bullet. He's done it. He's done an amazing job. And the good thing is he hasn't actually lost like any cash from when we were umming and ahhing about it. So Cartwright's got to go. And honestly, I think I'm just going to bring back Hopgood. So we'll talk about that in a second, because there's another guy that I'm keen on, and Hopgood, I'm still nervous that he's going to make Origin for Queensland because he is that good. But yeah, I don't know. Queensland do have a lot of forward depth. So yeah, I don't know. We'll decide in a sec. Schuster, he's staying. He's just plugging. He's not doing shit all, but he's staying. The front row, Tarpany's good to go. So actually, let's switch Tarpany straight in there. Pele still stinking it up, injured. Christian Welsh and Utagamanu, definitely I would like to get rid of both these guys at some point. And then Harry Grant, Tanner Boyd, beautiful stuff. I'm just hoping, dude. I mean, oh man, this is gonna make me so damn mad, because look at the scores. 47, 52, 49, 54, 75. The 1 week where I need him to play, he's going to go back to this shit, isn't he? 35, 24. Just please, for the love of God, Tanner Boyd, just score a 40, 50 pointer. That's all I ask. Just do what you've been doing. That's all I need, because a lot of people don't actually have a dummy half this week, because apparently Sonny Luke is also in doubt. But yeah, it's that's pretty much the team. Like I said, there is a potential to not make any trades, but I do actually, I want to get rid of Warbrick, if I'm being honest. Like, he's going to start leaking cash. He's got the bye this week, so it's not necessarily that big a pressing issue. But the fact is, if we go down here, so Skelton, again, I think he's in the extended squad, but not named. Go down to Robert Jennings. Yeah, he scored 74. Did he score 2 tries or 1 try? And he bombed a try. He's looking pretty good, honestly. Like his base stats, I'm not exactly sure, but from the eye test, he was getting involved pretty heavily. Couple of break tackles. I mean, he only scored 26 against the Rabbits in the first game, but I mean, the Bunnies are like, you know, they're a top 4 team, so that's fine. He covers around 13 if he keeps his spot. He's a great downgrade option. He's going to make cash, but yeah, I mean, the biggest annoyance is just Edric Lee is there looming that could take his spot, but I don't know. Edric did look a little underdone when he came back in last time. Robert Jennings, apart from that absolute bomb try, I think he's looking okay. And then who else have we got? I mean, Alamotti, he's stinking it up now. Remus Smith, who somewhat popular, 26. Jacob Rillo. I mean, it wouldn't really net me enough cash, so I honestly do think Jennings is the play. I actually do. Like, that's going to give me a good amount of cash. Warbrick is just not doing it at all. So he's made 200k. It's time to ship him off. It leaves me with a good amount of cash in the bank, and that means I can then upgrade. So here's the dilemma I face, right? So Cartwright going. Now there's 2 players, right? So Hopgood, he scored 43. There was a sin bin there as well, so you know, he would have scored like high 50s if he wasn't sin bin, we'd say. He's 529. The thing with Hopgood is that I don't really see him getting out of budget. So do I jump early back on Hopgood just because he's starting with the potential that he plays Origin? Or do I go with the other guy I'm very keen on? I mean, Sean Lane as well. I mean, we're definitely going to get Sean Lane. I still think you can wait because he should drop more cash. Although he's starting to look good. So I think Hosking to Sean Lane in a week or two, I think is probably the play. The other guy, though, is poor old Tohu Harris again getting injured. So, I mean, Harris I was definitely keen on in the front row, but that's blowing the plans out there. The guy I was keen on, Josh Curran, who is starting lock for the Warriors. And with Harris out, Jazz Tavanga out, I mean, Curran is very, very tempting. He obviously only scored 17, so he'll have a pretty high break even again. So again, I don't need to jump on Curran. That's the thing. I'm like, do I just ride Cartwright for another week, just see how things go? Because the other player I'm very keen on. Who would we rather get rid of? Utakamanu, probably, if I'm being honest. The other guy... Well, actually, no. He's another Storm guy, but we'll look at him anyway. Fucking Nelson Asafa Solomona. He's 580k, and he looks unstoppable. And the great thing about Solomona now, this year, is that Bellamy is using him really well. Like, he's still taking... like rucks through the middle and causing damage, but they're playing him on an edge for like a good chunk he's out there. So he's just so dangerous. Like on an edge against a small half or even a second rower, like he's just busting a tackle, getting the arm free. So I want Solomona in the team. I mean, he played 53 in the first game, only 31 in the second game. Is that where he got injured? He must have, yeah. And then he came back to 58 minutes. So he's obviously, again, he's got the bye. I sort of forgot about that. But I actually think... So I'm going to hold Utakamanu. I do think I go early on one or the two, or one or the other of Hopgood or Curran. Because Cartwright is going to leak cash quickly, potentially. And then next week, I actually think, depending how Utakamanu goes... He might come out, score a try. He can do that. I think maybe just trade Welsh for Asafa Solomona. I think is a good play. So that's what I'm leaning towards at the moment. There's nothing else really pressing. I mean, there's a couple of decent, cheaper front row forward options. Like, okay. But honestly, having a Tarpany and a Solomona... with Utakamanu again as our third front rower, I don't hate it. I mean, at one point we do probably just want to downgrade or upgrade Utakamanu, but I mean, you know, he's averaging 45. Of course, he goes 33 when we need to play him, but it is what it is. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Because if we look at the team, let's have a look. Let's say worst case scenario, Taruva and Cleary are both outs. So we will have... We'll play forward. We'll put Cartwright because we're trading Cartwright to either Hopgood or what's his face, Curran. So those two, then we'd probably go... We'd have Walsh, obviously, and then... Pending, I mean, maybe Jared Croak. Who are the Raiders playing? The Raiders are playing Dolphins. So honestly, Croak is not a bad shout as a reserve. Cheeky. I mean, he might only get 50 points, but that's okay. So, yeah, honestly, if they're all ruled out, I don't hate it still. So, yeah, I mean, if Tom Trbojevic is ruled out, then we're in a bit of strife. And if let's actually have a quick look. So if Trbojevic is ruled out, so maybe I won't trade Cartwright. Oh, they're playing the second game, so that's annoying. And Manly play on Saturday, so... I mean, worst comes to worst, we might have to boost. But let's have a look at fullback options quickly. So Latrell, he's over 900k. Look at the other ones; they're not even fullbacks. This is the state of fullbacks at the moment. Latrell is on top. You got a Zarko, a winger. I mean, Reece Walsh is their fullback, but then I guess Lachlan Miller's a fullback. I was because he's centre wing. I sort of forgot he's a fullback. Nick Meaney, Clint Gutherson. Okay, so they're all fullbacks. What am I talking about? But yeah, Gutherson. I mean, he's averaging 70. He covers the buys. And he's just so safe. Like, he doesn't have, like, the massive scores in him, but I don't hate it. I mean, people are, like, jumping on Will Kennedy. Kennedy scored 3 tries and only got 99 points. I mean, Gutherson is a little bit more expensive, but I feel like he's just a better option. Because the other factor is that the Eels have such a good draw. They got Newcastle, Titans, Raiders, and then a tough one in the Rabbits and potentially Cowboys. But that's in the bye, so they got a really good draw. So I do like Gutherson, but I can't trade Trbojevic unless he's ruled out. So it's a wait and see. Yeah, it's a wait and see at the moment. But I think that's what I am leaning towards. I am back. Wouldn't have noticed in the video, but I forgot what I was talking about. I had to quickly do something. What was I just rambling on about? I think yeah, trades. That's right. I was talking about Tommy potentially if he's out, maybe not. Who knows? But I do like the Cartwright too. I'm torn on Curran or Hopgood. I don't know. Maybe just go Curran. I know Curran, the Warriors don't cover round 13. Oh, they do. They do cover round 13. What am I talking about? Okay. Then I do think Curran then, just because... Yeah. I mean, starting lock, I mean, Curran can be so good. I mean, Hopgood as well, but... I'm still worried about Hopgood playing Origin. So I feel like Hopgood we can bring in on round 13 if he doesn't get selected. And I don't think his price is going to be like that insane. So that's what I'm leaning towards at the moment. Let's have a quick look at captaincy, vice captaincy, because this could be a little tricky. Yeah, because Sharks, Nico Hines once again. I mean, it's out Hines and Cleary, right? That's right. This is a really fucking tough week because you look at Penrith. Penrith are playing Tigers at home, which, I mean, I know Tigers, they fucking did well last week against Manly, but again, it was torrential weather, so it just brought everyone back to the pack. So the Tigers were definitely better defensively, but the weather helped them a lot. Let's be honest. But playing against Penrith, Cleary is just like such the obvious option. But the fact that he didn't goal kick, that's one. So he was carrying a niggle. Stephen Crichton goal kicked. I mean, we haven't talked about Stephen Crichton. I mean, if he was goal kicking long term. And I mean, I guess he will be over Origin. Jeez, he would be... Whew, he'd be a good pickup, but you just... Without the goal kicking, he's an okay scorer, but he just doesn't really get involved enough, I would say, to warrant it. But with the injury concern, potentially without goal kicking again, which if there is a niggle, like, Crichton is a really good goal kicker, so there's no reason to risk it, I guess. I just think you put the vice captaincy on Hines, and I think you put the captaincy on Joey Manu. I'm probably gonna fucking look at the weather at Mount Smart Stadium at 2 p.m. on Sunday, so I can see that it's not raining. Because a 2 p.m. game at New Zealand, Manu could absolutely kill it against an understrength Warriors team. He could kill it. So I think, honestly, that's the obvious. I mean, I guess like the other one. I mean, again, Manly are taking on Titans at 4 Pines Park. That is Tom Trbojevic City. That is him captaincy deluxe or Ruben Garrick, but. Ruben Garrick 1 is playing centre. Tom Trbojevic is obviously carrying injuries. So I would love to do it because he would be the biggest pod captaincy of all time for a fucking Manly v Titans matchup at their home ground for 5:30 in the afternoon. Oh, baby. But you just can't do it. You just can't do it. I can't afford I can't afford another 40-point captain, man. So I think I'm just gonna play it safe and boring. Hines vice captain, and this week, if Hines goes 100, what will I? I mean, Manu is probably less likely to go like less than 50 playing 5'8". So I think if Hines scores 100, like 100 plus, I think I will take the loop, because at the end of the day, I will just lose. Yeah, because they play first game, so I can definitely just get rid of Utikamanu and captain Welsh. So that's fine, honestly. And I think I'll just take the safe 100 points. If he goes like, yeah, if he goes not less than 90, I think I don't loop. I mean, yeah, I guess depending how it's shaping up, but yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna do. I know people probably straight captain Hines, and it's probably the smart decision, but dude, I can't do it on a Thursday. Man, if Hines stinks it, I mean, fuck me, I hope Hines stinks it up, dude, because all the straight captainers on Hines will be screwed, and their whole weekend will be ruined. I'm such an asshole, dude, but I want people to suffer. I want people to suffer in Supercoach. It's very enjoyable, but yeah, I just can't straight captain a Thursday game, especially because I've got you got the easy loop in the bye now, and losing Utukmanu isn't a bad thing. I mean, he could be our lowest scorer this week anyway. So yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna do. I don't think there's any real reason not to. I mean, again, captaining Cleary against the Tigers could be a masterstroke. He could go bonkers, but they're going to be under strength. And the Tigers have a good forward pack. Like, regardless of like their issues outside of areas and Luke Brooks and others, their forward pack is really good. So, you know, they shouldn't be getting pumped through the middle, let's say. And Api Coruscant playing against his old club, I feel like he'll fire up and play well. I mean, don't get me wrong, I would be so tempted. I mean, honestly, the more I'm looking at it, I mean, fuck, not vice captaining Hines is like, it could be an absolute disaster. But man, like putting the vice captaincy on Tom Chaboyevich and then captaining like Manu is a safe option. But do I have a loop target then? Actually, yeah, you can still do it because they obviously don't play, I guess, or lock out to the last game. So you could go vice captain Tommy or vice captain Garrick. I mean, it would be a risk. It'd be a risk. But then Manu is the safe option after. So, I don't know. I mean, it would be such a pod play. That's what I'm looking at. And I mean, I'm ranked like 10,000. So, but, I mean, the thing is, I feel like I'm in a good position to start jumping the ranks. So, I don't think I can take that risk. Because a lot of people are trading, what's his name, Trebojevic out anyway. So, he'll still be a pod regardless of his captaincy or otherwise. Because what has he owned? And he's still 51% of teams. I'll be interested to see like how that changes in the next few days. But or even like top 10,000 ownership. But I think that's pretty much that. There's not too much else to talk about. Like I said, I think I'm gonna go Solomona next week for probably Welsh. I think he's done his job. He's done a great job, but. I mean, does Welsh play Origin? Maybe. I don't know. That's an interesting one as well. So, I mean, Welsh might be a good pickup if he doesn't make Origin, just to save 50-odd pointer. So maybe we just trade out Utukmanu if we can afford it. And then Cartwright, we either go to Curran or Hopgood. But I'm thinking Curran just because Hopgood, I'm still worried he'll make Origin. So it'd be annoying to bring him back for round 13 and him not even play. But I guess Curran is a bit risky as well, just because I mean, obviously with the injuries he's got a spot, but if Tavanga's not out for that long, does Tavanga just go straight back to lock and Curran go back to the bench? Maybe. Ugh. I mean, Curran's actually a bit of Curran's a bit of a worry as well, because it seems like they just want to keep Niokore and Jackson Ford. Who I mean, Curran is a far better player than Jackson Ford. I mean, Ford's done a great job, but come on, man. Curran is far better than Ford. You can't be serious. But yeah, they seem to like that combo, and then Curran lock, but Tavanga, I guess Tavanga has played prop like plenty of times, so maybe with Harris out, they'll just play Tavanga at lock, prop, and Curran will keep the lock position. I don't know. It is dicey as well, so I'll have to think about that. But it's almost time. I'm making this on a Wednesday night because of the Tuesday night game, so I don't have much time to think about it. But hopefully, guys are enjoying the content. Make sure to like and comment, and I'll see you guys in the next one.